First guest this morning on our Saturday morning State Line show is a young man born in Rockford, Illinois, who's a father, a husband, a son, a brother, a friend, a really talented musician. I knew that for quite a while, but what I did not know is what a great author this young man is. And in full disclosure, I am related to this guy. And he might not claim me, and after this interview, he might completely disown me, but Benjamin Denen is on the phone with us. Good morning to you, Ben.
Good morning. How you doing, Greg?
Very well. Thanks for taking some time out for our show here this morning, and congratulations on the soon-to-be-released book.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
Now, you've had, before we get into The Keeper of Edelyndia, which, did I say that even right?
You sure did.
Edelyndia.
My mom still can't get it right on a majority of the time.
It's a different word. That's not something you say every day. So before we get into the book, a little background about yourself. I knew you to be a musician, and I knew you kind of dabbled in writing, but I had no idea how serious you took your writing, and here we are with a published book coming out soon. Quick background. You grew up in Rockford, went to school here in Rockford, correct?
Correct.
And go ahead and give a little synopsis of growing up here in Rockford, where you went to school, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I born and raised in Rockford. I was homeschooled up until 7th grade, then went to Christian Life, and graduated from there in 2000. When I moved to Nashville, Tennessee, to attend Belmont University and majored in music. Which makes a lot of sense, having a novel coming out.
What happened there? Yeah, but it's okay.
And I lived in Nashville for 7 years and played music as my primary income. And through many moves and different things, I've now ended up in Indiana, where I'm still, I would say, my quote-unquote day job is music. I'm a composer. I do music for film and media. And write as a kind of side hobby and job.
And it just happened to turn into a few different novels. This is not your first novel, but is it the first that's actually been picked up and published?
Well, yeah, and it actually is my first novel. It was the first one that I wrote. I've written 3 others, I've got 3 others at different stages of completion, let's put it that way.
Okay.
None to be released immediately. But yep, The Keeper was actually the first book I ever wrote. Started it a few years ago, and yeah, first one to get published, which is really exciting.
BenjaminJDenen.com if you want to learn more about Ben. Again, the book is called The Keeper of Edelyndia, and I'm so proud of myself for being able to say that. So I guess in a nutshell, why the word Edelyndia? What does that mean, and what is the kind of the short, in a nutshell, synopsis of the book?
Yeah, just to give you a little tiny bit of backstory, I've always done a lot of creative things for my day job, and in the back of my mind, I knew I always wanted to write. I'd done a lot of writing for different blogs and things like that, and I was just kind of going through a period where I felt like I needed another almost hobby creative outlet, and that's kind of where one day I was like, I'm just going to start this book, and I always kind of in the back of my mind had this story wanting to be written. It's fantasy. Edelyndia is the kind of the world, the land that this takes place in, this story. I knew I wanted to, as a first-time author, as a first time really diving in and completing a book, I kind of had this, which turned out to be a taller task than I thought it would be, of creating a world that I could kind of control all the elements of. And so the name Edelyndia kind of came out, and yeah. So I'm sorry, you asked for the synopsis of the book?
Well, that was a product of just your mind. There's no specific inspiration for the word Edelyndia?
No, I mean, there was I guess if there was any inspiration, in the back of my mind, I was kind of thinking Edelyndia, at its purest form, what it could have been was almost a utopian society. I had the word Eden, as in Garden of Eden, in the back of my mind, that kind of got twisted and went down the wrong path. And so I knew I wanted to play off of that, and just I don't know, Edelyndia kind of came out. So
okay, now I can see it. I can see the word Eden kind of hidden in there. So that works. Okay, now I got it. So this is a book you've been working on for really a number of years. And
yep.
Now that it's published, you got it's time to do the whole promotion thing. But are you coming back to Rockford to help promote your book?
Yeah, absolutely. We don't have the dates set up just yet. We're working with my publicist to set up some book signings and just kind of connect with potential fans of the book. We're working on that. We're hoping for middle September or possibly October for those. I'm still working out the details on that.
We're talking with Benjamin J. Denen, the author of The Keeper of Edelyndia, and when I was seeing that you were publishing this book, and I knew that you were really, really talented musically. In fact, the Christmas CD, we still play every Christmas. It's part of what we play for Christmas music at our house.
Awesome.
Those songs are just so well done, and it's the sounds of Christmas. We love it. So going from that to this, I guess it's not that much of a stretch because it is still, the creative element, that sort of thing. Have you been the kind of author that gets together with other authors and exchanges ideas and that sort of stuff? Or are you just kind of like the closet guy who hide me away with my word processing, whatever you're using for to type on these days?
Yeah.
And just all right, I'm gonna go away for 2 or 3 or 4 hours or until the inspiration leaves me, and I'm gonna get a bunch of stuff typed up.
Yeah, I'm definitely the closet writer. Although for me, I actually wrote most of this book in various coffee shops. I kind of closed myself away by putting headphones on. But I do have a couple friends who are authors, close friends of mine, and we'll kick things back and forth. And they definitely were a great sounding board for the book. But for the most part, I'm a shut myself away and write for long chunks of time kind of person.
I've often said this before. I have a handful of friends that are authors, and I'm get inspired by you guys a lot to think, okay, one of these days I'm going to sit down and start typing out some of these the goofy stories I used to tell my kids and just try to expand on them and go for it. Put together a really cool story. It's daunting, but once you get it down, or at least the rough outline of the story down, I guess that's my question. Do you find yourself working on a huge outline of where you want to go and end up and how you're going to get there and then fill in all the blanks, or do you just kind of go step by step and chapter by chapter and build?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've kind of experimented with a couple of ways of doing that. The Keeper in particular, which was unique in and of itself, was basically written, I would say 95% of what is written in the book was written over 2 separate weeks of pretty much being awake only for a few hours, or being asleep for only a few hours a day, and other than that, I was writing. It just was a straight writing purge, if you will. And this one in particular, I kind of went for that method of outlining. I didn't outline the whole book. I took this book is written in parts, part 1 and part 2, and I outlined each part and then kind of filled in the blanks as it went. So it was a little bit more of a structured writing style, which makes sense if you're creating worlds and epic fantasy. It's the longest book I've written, so some of those things. And then one of the most recent books I've written, I wanted to try the whole let your characters tell the story for you. So I had a very loose idea of what I wanted to do, beginning to end, and my wife always kind of laughed and made fun of me for it. I'd be like, "Oh man, I had no idea that was going to happen," things like that. And
she's like, "You made it up yourself, you silly man."
Yeah, and it's funny because there's even when I do structure a book out like I did with The Keeper, there is that element of, wow, I wasn't expecting the character to react that way. And I'd always heard authors say that your characters kind of tell the story for themselves, and until I'd actually sat down and wrote a book, I had no idea that that's actually the case. Sometimes you can find yourself going, "No, but I don't want you to do that." "Oh, but you need to, because that's who you are."
That's who you are. I've heard it said that that characters in novels are like a baseball diamond. There's four places that they go to. There's a first base, second base, third base, and home. And one of those bases always seems to not quite fit with the other 3. And that's what makes it an interesting character. And I haven't read the book yet, but I'm looking forward to reading it and kind of finding out where the curveballs come,
Yep.
So, hey, anything else you would like to throw out there before we let you go here this morning, Ben?
We have a lot. We're going to have a lot of exciting things coming up, especially for those in the State Line area. Coming back, and I love connecting with bands. I love just getting to talk about literature and things like that. My website, BenjaminJDenen.com. We'll constantly be releasing news on when that stuff comes out. The book actually releases August 19th, but you can go to Amazon.com and pre-order it. The Kindle version will be out, although it isn't released yet. And various other online retailers are carrying the book as well. So
you'll see a very kind of almost freaky-looking green cover on this book. And yeah. I didn't get a chance to add. I got about half a minute. Can you fill us in on any of the inspiration behind that cover, or is that a secret?
I will say that the logo that is on the cover is a very key element of the lead character's Oren's self-discovery. So it is a very intentional cover. Awesome. Okay, Ben, thanks so much for spending some time with us this morning, and looking forward to seeing you back here in Rockford. Absolutely. Thank you very much. BenjaminJDenen.com, again, is the website. The cover of this book is really cool. We're going to put a link up to it on our Facebook page, so if you get a chance,